The first thing you notice about Bethesda is its rugged beauty. It's nestled in the Ogwen Valley, spitting distance from Snowdon, and it's a mecca for nature lovers, walkers and climbers. The second thing you notice about Bethesda is this: slate from the Penrhyn Quarry, and there's a lot of it about. Ivor Richards has been carving slate ever since he moved to Bethesda 25 years ago.
It's a very readily available material, so there's an economy factor there. It was actually literally on my doorstep. So I decided to experiment with using that medium. I got some lessons from a local quarryman's son in the basic techniques of handling slate, which can be quite tricky. But it is relatively easy to carve using these kind of tungsten tipped chisels into the surface this way.
Ivor hasn't always carved in slate. His degree show at the Central School of Art caused a bit of a stir due to its unusual subject matter.
Dead rats that were floating around in sump oil, black sump oil, and fish that were impaled on stakes. So I was using materials perhaps that have become more accepted as the norm these days. But this was way back in '72, which predates Damien Hirst by, well, he wasn't even born then, I don't suppose.
And 3 decades on, his work's been recognised by the Royal Cambrian Academy. His exhibition, The Impossible Mark, wowed critics and punters alike. But how does he take Penrhyn Quarry's detritus and turn it into art?
When I first started using slate, I was taking it off of the slate tips up in the quarry. And I'd be looking for pieces that maybe suggested some kind of image, some kind of shape within that piece of waste slate. I have to be kind of careful because slate does tend to have faults running through it. As a final kind of test, just from the slate tips, I tend to hurl the pieces of rock down. And if they survive the fall, then they're probably a sound piece of slate that would be worth working. If they break up, then that's it. The tools that I use are, in the first place, to rough out the shape of the slate. The younger grinder is good, it takes the hard work out of the initial phase. After that, I start using the chisels, like I said before. It's a fairly labour-intensive process, and it does take time.
Each sculpture can take up to 2 months to complete. This piece, called Purgatory, was described by one critic as a near-perfect poetic metaphor.
It's supposed to give you the impression that there's a door here that's partially open, a blocked-up keyhole, which would frustrate you trying to open it or lock it, and an embedded key that's wax, which also makes it impossible to get to. And there's quite an interesting comment from one of the visitors to the opening, who, as it turned out, was recently released from prison. And although he didn't like the work, he didn't like art, he found this quite an evocative piece of work for obvious reasons.
Like the landscape that inspired it, Ivor's work has a timeless, elemental quality that'll be enjoyed for thousands of years to come.